and welcome to the 7 o'clock news on Channel 14. I'm Sammy Jenkins.
And I'm Bill Greeton.
And here's what happened in your world today. The top story of the night is the First Battle of the Marne on the Western Front. The front is located on the border of France, near the small town of Lorraine. The French, led by their commander, Joseph Joffre, beat back the Germans into a series of trenches outside near the lower Aisne River. The battle turned out to be an epic one due to the new style of warfare. This new style was the use of trenches. This is the first introduction of trenches in battle. These trenches are about 7 feet deep and are often ridden with rats and diseases. However, this new form of combat seems to be the wave of the future. Unfortunately, this new style of combat seems to accumulate much more casualties than before. In this battle alone, the death toll reached a staggering 512,733 people. The Germans alone, led by Karl von Bülow, lost 250,000 people. The battle seems to be the beginning of a huge trench system, and this vast trench system should span all the way from the northern borders of France to the northern borders of Switzerland. But on a lighter note, the taxicab drivers of France certainly earned their money today as they drove over 600 French soldiers to the front. Can you imagine the Germans as they saw their soldiers arriving in taxicabs? Very silly stuff, Bill.
Yes, it was.
And now to you on the German Schleifenplan. Bill.
Well, thank you, Sammy. The latest update we have is on the tactics of the battle. The Germans put their Schleifenplan into effect, which was put to a stop by the Allied forces. What was the Schleifenplan, you may ask? Well, let me fill you in. The Schleifenplan was the German plan to focus their attention on the battles in the west against France in order to earn a swift victory. After that, they would proceed to move their armies eastward to take over Russia. But this plan was stopped by the brilliant tactics of the Allied forces. I will present the tactics of both armies, as well as their pictures of their movements as they advanced through the Battle of the Marne. Well, as you can see, the German 1st and 2nd armies are heading east in order to take over the French capital of Paris. In this image, the German 1st Army goes north to meet the approaching French 6th Army led by Joseph Joffre, while the German 2nd Army did not go north. And next image. This image shows how the French 5th Army quickly moves between both of the German armies, as well as attacking the German 2nd Army. The tactics of the French was to divide and conquer the German armies. The German 1st Army fought fiercely, though, requiring the French 1st Army to receive reinforcements from Paris. The gap between the two German armies was made even bigger when the French 5th Army launched a surprise attack on the German 2nd Army. This attack caused them to retreat and regroup. The two German armies then continued their retreat until they found a spot to dig in. The French and German armies then proceed to trench warfare, resulting in heavy casualties. Now, back to you, Sammy.
Thank you, Bill. And now we have a special interview with a French soldier on the front lines. To that, we go to our lead interviewer in the field. Now, here's your interview.
I'm here in a trench in the war on the front line with a French soldier. What's your name, son?
I'm Francois Lemouchard.
And why are you on the front line?
I enlisted in the French armed forces so that I could help protect my country, and I got put on the front lines.
What drew you to enlist into the French armed forces?
I heard all the hype about it back home in Toulouse, and my friends and I all joined up together. At first the excitement was unbelievable, but we were in for a big surprise.
Can you go into more depth about this surprise?
Well, everything was going well until we got into training camp. was absolutely brutal. The drill sergeants had no mercy on us and worked us to the bone. We rarely had time for rest.
Now that you've endured both combat and training camp, which do you prefer?
Well, I thought nothing was as bad as training camp, but man was I wrong. When we got into these trenches, it was horrible. The trenches are like living in a sewer.
Can you explain a soldier's life in the trenches?
We lay in the trenches all day and all night. There's rarely time for sleep because of the constant stress, because of the constant threats and the loud banging of cannons and gunshots. If you do get to sleep, there's always that constant worry of being chomped on by a rat. Some of these rats that I've seen in here are as big as cats. The rats mainly feed on the dead, mangled bodies that haven't been cleared away. We can't really do anything about the bodies because there's a high possibility that we'll get shot if we try to do anything. So to get rid of the rats, we do anything we can. We've even shot a lot. The rats also eat our food, and in the trenches, food is really scarce. We are always hungry from the lack of food.
Wow, this doesn't sound anything like the war that we're hearing about at home. What advice would you give to young men like you about joining the war?
I would tell them that it's really up to them, and if they really want to enlist in their respective armies, that they should do it very soon so that they aren't fighting it as the war gets more brutal. However, I wouldn't recommend joining because this is worse, nothing like the governments have made it out to be. It's a very hard life, and it is always very dangerous.
Do you ever have free time to just relax?
No! We are always on the lookout for stray bullets, flying shrapnel, and grenades. We need to know everything that is going around us at all times, or you will die.
We seem to be having some technical difficulties on the front. We'll have that story for you later in the evening. But for now, that's it. I am Sammy Jenkins.
And I'm Bill Greason.
Signing off.